What is up, DTV? I'm Eric, Dave's friend, here to review the season premiere of Game of Thrones, titled The Red Woman, which I understand why they titled it that way, which I'll get to a little later. But I'll just get right into it. I'll start with everything that happened at the Wall. So the opening scene is Jon Snow's dead body, which didn't surprise me. So Davos comes out, sees his dead body, runs over to it, is horrified to see what has happened. Some of Jon Snow's friends who were in the Night's Watch that didn't kill him also see what happened. They get his body, they take it inside, and they're all just like in disarray, like, wow, did this really all, is the Lord Commander really dead? Like wow. So Davos is trying to figure out like what to do. So the first thing he says is, get Ghost. We need all the help we're gonna get. Get Ghost. So they get Ghost because they do know who did this. They know Sir Alistair Ford, and the other lieutenants in the Night's Watch did this. So they know they're in big trouble. So they go to get Ghost, and also they hear a knock on the door, and it's Melisandre, and she's like all in disarray herself. She's not her typical self anymore. So you can tell that what transpired last season has had an effect on her, and she says, I saw Jon fighting in the flames. I saw him fighting in Winterfell," and she just doesn't know what to think at this point either. She's in complete disarray. I'll get to back to her in a minute. So then it flashes to the Night's Watch talking about what had happened, and Alistair Ford flat out says, yes, me and the lieutenants, we killed him. We killed him. He put us in this terrible position to make this choice, and we chose, and we killed him. And it's pretty clear that Thorne is now probably in charge of the Night's Watch, at least at the moment. But so then later on, he goes to where Davos and Jon's friends are held up with Jon's dead body. They want the body. He knocks on the door and says, Sir Davos, we'll let you go. We'll let everybody else inside go. You can take the Red Woman with you. We'll give you food, but you have to let us in, and that will be that. But Davos and everyone else, they know, they're pretty smart. They know if they open the door, they're pretty much all going to be killed. So Davos says, listen, we have to do what we have to do. We can use the Red Woman, and Jon's friends are like, how can we use her? Like, what could she do? She's just a redhead. And he's like, you haven't seen the things I've seen. Now remember, he witnessed her give birth to the Shadow Baby back in season 2. So he has seen stuff. So then the next scene flashes to Melisandre. She's looking into the flames, once again looking very sad over everything that's happened, and she goes to a mirror. Here's where it gets really creepy. She goes to a mirror, just, takes her clothes off. You see her boobs. Here's where she takes her necklace off, which she almost always has on, puts it down, looks at herself back in the mirror, and what we see is one creepy, disgusting thing. She's really this old hag witch, disgusting, with these saggy boobs. It was gross and horrifying. I mean, interesting in a way that she's really that old, but it was just disturbing. But it was just, ugh, the image, just thinking about it, is creeping me out. But that's the deal with everything that went down with the Wall. Now I hope they're not going to drag this Jon Snow stuff out till the end of the season, and it's going to be something where he comes back, but not until like episode 10. I hope that's not what they do, but we'll see. That's what's going on with Winterfell. So next I'll talk about Sansa and Theon are on the run. They escaped last season from Winterfell. They jumped. So the Boltons are after them. They're running. They go through our frozen river, and finally Theon realizes the Boltons are right there. They're about to catch them. So he's going to pretty much try to sacrifice himself so she can hide. Sansa can hide. So the Boltons come. Theon or Reek, whatever you want to call him, says, listen, she's dead. She's dead. They don't believe him. The hounds find her. And when they're right about to take them, bam, in comes Brienne, the Kingslayer. Yeah, I'll get over that eventually. I'll get over it. And Podrick. And the thing I loved that Podrick now can fight. he clearly has been training with Brienne, and he can fight. He showed off some of his skills, and him and Brienne take care of the Bolton guys. And Theon actually, though, one cool thing was he saved Podrick. Podrick did get himself in a situation where he was about to be killed, and Theon did save him, and I did like that. So after they take care of the Bolton soldiers, Brienne places her. She did the same thing she did with Catelyn Stark. She places her sword at Sansa's feet and pledges her service. And Sansa, this time, accepts her service. Says the exact same thing her mother says back in season 2. So it looks like Sansa's going to be for now in okay shape, and she really needs to have a decent season for once because she's really been put through it. So back to, I'll talk about Winterfell. So Ramsay is sitting, watching Miranda's dead body. She was his girlfriend. And he actually seems to have cared about her. You wouldn't think someone like him really has a heart, but at first you really think he's caring about it. He talks about his story of how he met her and this and that, and how he's going to avenge her. But then right at the end, typical Ramsay, when his soldier asks if, do you want us to bury her or light a fire, he goes, no, just feed her to the dogs. She's good meat. That's Ramsay being Ramsay. So then he's talking to his father, and his father's congratulating him on his victory over Stannis, saying who struck the death blow. Ramsay, of course, doesn't know because none of the Boltons actually did it. It was Bran. But he says to him, you need to get Sansa back because she's the key to us controlling the North. You need to get her back. And you can see Ramsay's a little shaken because he realizes that's true. Because Roost's wife's pregnant. If it's a boy, they could become the true heir to everything. So he really knows he needs to get her back. So that's the story with Winterfell and the Wall and all the happenings there. So next I'll go to King's Landing. So Cersei, who had just done the Walk of Shame, hears that a ship from Dorne has arrived. So she thinks she's finally going to get to see Myrcella again. So she's standing there smiling. But as the ship comes closer and closer, she sees Jaime doesn't look happy. And she sees behind him there's a body, and she knows Myrcella is dead. Now, I'm not a big Cersei fan. But I did feel for her in that moment. I did feel bad for her. And Lena Headey is a great actress and really conveyed her grief very well. So I did feel bad for her. Then her and Jaime talk, and Jaime's like, this is my fault. She's like, no, Jaime, it's not your fault. A witch told me a prophecy I would have 3 kids and they would all die. There was nothing you could do. And he's like trying to comfort her, saying, listen, we're going to take everything back from everyone that's hurt us. No one's going to hurt us again. And they hug and embrace. And so that's the deal with them. Next, also at King's Landing, we finally get to see Marjorie, who's still locked up, as is Sir Loras, her bro. So she's asking about, how's Loras doing? And no one's going to tell her anything. And then one of the Septons, who was beating Cersei last season, which I enjoyed because I don't like Cersei, was kind of beating Marjorie this episode. And since I love Marjorie, I hated seeing that. I don't want to see that. So the High Sparrow comes in, and he starts talking to her, and he's like, listen, you're on the road, but you still have a long way to go. So I wonder if she's going to do a walk of shame or if something else is going to happen. I don't know, but I don't want to see Marjorie stuck in this place all season. I want her out because I really like her, but I want her out. So that's the deal with King's Landing for now. Next, Arya had a scene. Now, where we left off with her, she was blind because she went against the rules of the House of Black and White, and that was her punishment. She's blind, so she's collecting money, and apparently, I think her name's the Wraith or something, who's also from the House of Black and White, apparently comes to visit her every day and fights with her with a stick. Now, it's not a fair fight because she's blind, so she basically is kicking Arya's ass, and I wonder if they're going to do a Daredevil type thing with her, if she's going to become this awesome blind warrior, or if she's actually going to get her sight back. I personally prefer if she gets her sight back, but I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen with that. That's the deal with Arya. there was some stuff with Dorne. Now, Dorne last season was not my favorite part of the show. Was not my favorite part of the show at all. But basically, Ilaria Sand kills Dorian Sand, who's in charge, but she's like, basically, you've done nothing. You know, your sister was killed, your brother was killed, and you just do nothing. And you see, most of his soldiers didn't really like him because they don't come to his defense except for one. So he's dead, and I guess she's taking over Dorne. I guess she's in charge now. And then we cuts to a scene of Tristan, who was supposed to marry Marcella, is on a boat. Two of the Sand Snakes come in, they kill him, so he's dead. So I don't know how much we're going to see of Dorne this season. I hope not a lot because it's not just my personal opinion. It's not my favorite part of the show. But that's the deal with Dorne. So then next we'll talk about Meereen. So Tyrion is talking with Varys about everything that happened in the pit, about the Sons of Harpy, who might be in charge of the Sons of the Harpy, which I'm actually interested in. I wonder if it's someone we already know or if it's someone we don't know at all. So they're walking around and they pass a male red priest talking about the Lord of Light stuff and all, and then they see smoke and hear chaos, and they see Daenerys' ships and everything have been torched. So Tyrion goes, well, she's not going to be sailing to Westeros. So I'm really interested to see what happens in Meereen because I like Tyrion and I like seeing Tyrion in leadership type roles because I do feel he's probably the most level-headed person on the show, in my opinion. So then we're back to so Jorah, not Jorah, Mormont, and Dario are looking for Daenerys, and Dario's kind of teasing him, like, how does it feel to want something you're never going to have? Because he knows he's in love with Daenerys. And it kind of ticked me off a little bit, because Jorah has grayscale. You know, my guess he's probably going to die. He's not, I don't know if it's going to be this season, but I don't think he's going to live because he has grayscale, but he finds Daenerys' ring, and he sees that she's been captured, and he knows that she's been captured by Dothraki, her former people. So then it cuts to Daenerys, who is bound up with all these new Dothraki, and, you know, they're taunting her. They don't realize she knows their language, saying all this crude stuff to her. Then she's introduced to the new Carl, and he's like, you know, I'm going to put sun in you and do this and that. And then finally she speaks up, speaks their language, and says, I am Daenerys, I am the queen. And at first he laughs and says, huh, you're not the queen of anything. But then she plays her last card, which was smart, and says, I was the wife of Khal Drogo. And the new Carl's like, whoa, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know any of this. Lets her, you know, cuts her free, and he's like, listen, she's like, if you take me back to Meereen, I'll give you anything you want. But he's like, no, you're going where former wives of Carl's go when Carl's died. So I'm not exactly sure where that is, but I guess we'll find out. So we'll see what happens with that. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good premiere. You know, it was typical of a premiere. You know, I just hope they don't drag the Jon Snow stuff out too long. But I liked it. You know, we'll see what happens with the rest of the season. Those were just my thoughts. It's my perspective. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to DTV, and I will catch you guys later and see you guys next week. See ya.